Hello viewers, welcome to the channel, where I cover anything financial related, schemes, scams, and technology. In this video I will look at the biggest Ponzi scheme in Jamaica's history, in the years leading up to the 2008 financial crisis. This Ponzi scheme mainly operated in Jamaica, however, the victims list extended all the way to the United States. Before we talk about the Ponzi scheme, let's take a moment to learn about the man who ran this elaborate scheme. His name, David Smith. David Smith once worked as a banker for one of Jamaica's biggest financial institutions, Jamaica Money Market Brokers or JMMB. David Smith grew up in a solid middle-class family, where his mother was a physics teacher and his father was the vice principal at one of Jamaica's most prestigious high schools, Wolmer's Boys' School. He himself attended Wolmer's Boys' School and went on to work for JMMB. He spent 10 years working as an international FX trading expert for most of his time at JMMB. Smith later went on to form what we now know as OLINT Investments. This company was initially a secret club that only accepted close friends and associates of Smith. OLINT was the financial institution every Jamaican wanted to be a part of in 2006. The rumor circulating at that time was that Smith was trading foreign currency and allegedly earning upwards of 15% per month for his investors. That 15% monthly return seemed incredible, considering many Wall Street hedge fund managers would offer up their right hand for annual returns of 15%. As OLINT got more popular and the information about the lucrative monthly returns became public, many Jamaican citizens wanted a part of those incredible earnings. Warnings were being sounded by government entities via the Jamaican media, however, those warnings went unheeded and ignored by most. People were determined to not be left out of this God-sent program. Many started mortgaging their homes, selling cars and any other assets they could get their hands on, to invest in OLINT. OLINT subsequently relaxed its secretive status, and started accepting money from the Jamaican public. People from other countries, such as Turks and Caicos and ultimately the United States, started investing in OLINT as well. It is said that in totality David Smith and OLINT took in approximately $250 million. OLINT was unregulated in Jamaica, and as the scheme got more prominent the Jamaican regulators got wind of it, and a struggle began to emerge between OLINT and the Jamaican financial regulators. The mayhem began to intensify in 2006 when Jamaica's financial regulators, the Financial Services Commission, otherwise called FSC, executed search warrants on OLINT's office. They seized numerous documents and issued a cease and desist order preventing OLINT from dealing in what it called unlicensed securities or investment advice to the Jamaican public. OLINT's problems got even worse when its main banker, the National Commercial Bank or NCB, closed OLINT's accounts after the bank claimed OLINT repeatedly failed to provide audited financial statements, which NCB claimed was in breach of regulatory requirements. In 2008 OLINT decided to close its operations in Jamaica without any warning to its investors. Investors were confused and initially started blaming the Jamaican government for causing the closure. Many were convinced the government was trying to prevent average Jamaicans from attaining wealth, which would put them on par with already wealthy people in the upper class. This source of discontent boiled over even online, as many Jamaicans were now beginning to use social media and other online forums. Things began to worsen for OLINT. In his quest to keep the scheme going, David Smith filed several lawsuits against the FSC and NCB, but to no avail. In early to mid-2008 OLINT had failed to make several monthly payments to members, probably due to a lack of new members or new money from current members. This, as we know, is the hallmark of a Ponzi scheme. By the end of 2008 OLINT had closed its doors in Jamaica. David Smith began making outlandish conspiracy claims regarding the reason OLINT had to shut down. He blamed the Jamaican government and the political issues in Jamaica. However, the real reason was lack of new victims required to fund the scheme. In 2009 David Smith was arrested and charged in Turks and Caicos. He was also charged in a federal court in Orlando, with 23 counts of wire fraud and money laundering, among other charges. Smith was taken from Turks and Caicos and brought to Florida, where he subsequently pleaded guilty to the charges. He subsequently entered into a plea agreement with U.S. prosecutors in an effort to avoid a longer prison sentence. The agreement was that he would serve his sentence concurrently, in a Turks and Caicos prison. After signing the plea agreement, he was then taken back to Turks and Caicos to serve his 10-year sentence. In 2020 he was released from prison after completing the 10-year sentence. Once he was released from prison, the U.S. government began applying for him to be extradited to serve another 20 years in U.S. federal prison. Smith and his lawyers argued that they had made a binding plea deal with the U.S.